you actually ever been able to get penalties abated for late filings?
Yes.
Yes.
There are ways. Usually it's called a voluntary disclosure agreement. And so basically and this is usually something to do when you've got a significant sales tax liability. I actually had a client who was operating in California, very, very large e-commerce client. And so we went through the whole process of like, hey, like, you should probably register in California. This is getting, if they were to audit you today, you'd probably owe 150 grand sort of thing, which is, that's a lot of money for everybody. And so what we did was, I told him, I said, well, there's this process you can go through. Each state generally has one. It's called a VDA, or a voluntary disclosure agreement. And what you can do is, usually I would say if you don't owe more than 7, 8, 9,000 in a state, it's not worth it. Just because of the charges that, you would obviously have to pay somebody to go through this process with you for. It's not a quick process. But in his scenario, we filled out the VDA form. We were able to communicate with a state auditor. And what they basically said was, hey, file your returns and I'll make sure the penalties are abated. They still had to pay interest, but the only way to get out of penalties is if you go through, voluntary disclosure is coming forward to a state and saying anonymously, I've got a liability. I want to pay it, but I don't want to pay the penalties. And usually what the state does is they say, okay, well, since you're coming forward and admitting that you have a liability that you need to pay, and we don't have to go after you and get you, we're going to waive the penalties. And in his case, that saved him approximately $34,000. So
wow,
probably not material to him, but it was also a nice little, hey, I don't have to pay this when otherwise I would have.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for the time today, Ryan. I learned a lot. Sounds like a massive headache to deal with. Glad I got you on our side to help me out with this. So thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.